I'm Dr. Zulfikar Adamu. I'm an Associate Professor of Strategic IT in Construction at London South Bank University. And this project is about improving health and safety in construction using personality traits and virtual reality. And personality is what makes individuals unique. It's a combination of many traits that define who we are. And we can establish to a reasonable degree of accuracy what a person's personality trait is using, say, some sort of standardized psychometric tests. One of the popular ones is called the Big Five model, which looks for things like level of openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And we all have various amounts of these traits in our personality. So many organizations today use personality traits to determine how they deploy their manpower. For example, you might have a new set of graduates that you want to deploy into your construction organization or banking organization. And by using personality traits, you can determine that Michael might be a very good mathematician, but his personality is actually best suited to, say, sales and marketing. It doesn't mean you should stereotype him into accounting simply because he's a good mathematician. So what does this mean? It means that in construction also, our personality traits will also determine how we could respond to construction hazard in a site where we have many kinds of dangers and issues that we need to be aware of. And this is important because we are not going to all react to dangers the same way. Some of us will recognize danger for what it is. Some of us will simply freeze because our personality is that type, not because we're cowards or anything. And some of us will actually run towards danger. Some will run away from danger. So by capturing each person's personality, it means that we can use virtual reality to make a game suit their personality. If someone doesn't have a problem with working at height, then we don't want to waste too much time training them working at height. We want to test their ability to read signs and instructions or watch out for falling objects and the rest of that. So presently, health and safety training is carried out through classroom environment with a little bit of some demos here and there, but mostly like the SMSTS, which is very popular in the UK, is a 5-day course that is almost death by PowerPoint, if you like. And what we want to do is to supplement that training by simulating real life scenarios in VR so that players get a kind of interactive appreciation of what health and safety looks like in a construction site. And VR, of course, is terribly important because the best thing you could do to train people in health and safety is to put them in a real danger, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to break some bones. So we want to just simulate those scenarios where dangerous situations will happen and see how the players will react to that. And we can give them feedback and say, actually, there was a sign that said put on your earmuffs, but you didn't. And there was a falling object on the other side and you didn't observe that. We can simulate scenarios that will be very difficult, like high wind environments, walking under rain or snow, or maybe walking at height at a certain kind of complex project where the geometry of the building is really, really sophisticated. We can simulate all kinds of things. And I think this is important because it means those who will train for health and safety going forward will have the experience of what dangers they can expect to meet, and we can capture how they reacted to that danger and help them to behave better when they go to a real construction site. One of the things we want to add into the VR game is also the analytics aspect of it, because if you can use big data to capture the little nuances between individuals, then that will help us understand groups of people as a whole. Maybe there will be differences in gender, we don't know yet. Maybe there will be differences in cultural background, or maybe the age of players, their years of experience. So when we are able to use this game in a multiplayer environment and we can spread this game across cultural boundaries, we can capture the kind of data that allows us to understand how different people, based on different settings, whether they are demographic settings or cultural settings, how they all respond to health and safety in construction. So in essence, this project is aimed at providing a proof of concept of how we can improve health and safety in construction by combining people's personality in a virtual reality environment so that we can customize the training to suit their particular personalities. So a typical user of the game player of the game will come in and log in with a username, in this case ALIU, and then they come in and they start to see some questions. And these questions are mandatory, obviously, because we want to capture their personality using this psychometric test. And I'm the life of the party. Do you agree? Yes, I slightly disagree. I feel concerned for others. I'm neutral. I get stressed out easily. No, I disagree. I have rich vocabulary. I slightly agree. I don't talk a lot. I disagree. I'm interested in people. I agree. I leave my belongings around. I'm exacting in my work. I agree. I often feel blue. Slightly disagree. And there it is. So it gives you a sort of breakdown of my personality traits based on some of those things I've discussed: extroversion, conscientiousness, neuroticism, agreeableness, and openness. So once you've got these metrics, you start the scene, and what happens is that the game will be customized based on how you scored on all these metrics. So if you start the scene, the game loads up, and there you go. So you have the ability to walk around the site. In this case, you can see I'm just approaching a construction site, and the hazards that will be available here have been customized to suit my personality, you know. And there's certain things that you can do as well. If you observe, there are things like weather inventory. If you click on the inventory, you can see maybe some inventories that you can pick up, like equipment and tools in the construction site, and things like weather allows you to, or the trainer to be able to manipulate like rain, wind, snow, and the rest of that to different levels. So if you look at weather, for example, you can see that you have rain, hail, snow, sleet, lightning, and wind, and you can change their settings. You can increase them or reduce them based on whatever it is you want to test. How does this person walk on a windy day on a scaffold that is rickety, for example? So there are all sorts of things that you can do with this. This is just an overview of what the interface of the game looks like. You have two bars there that represent health and safety, and that was very important because the health represents certain things that people don't pay too much attention to, but they're very important. Maybe someone breathing in dust or stuff like that, or vibration. These are things that you might not necessarily see the impact of immediately until after some years down the line. So this is terribly important. And what you see over there is the mini-map. It tells you where the player is relative to the construction sites. So for example, as I move to the left, to the right, you can see that the map is updating to show where I am relative to the whole site. And you can navigate to different areas. So this is just the navigation and the menu after you've logged in, and then from henceforth the game starts to customize itself based on the hazards that will be visible to you. So this is a closer look at the desktop application. As you can see, the players navigating around the construction site, and shortly we should have some overview of some of the hazards that he might face in a particular scenario. So that's an explosion with a fire, and maybe he might be required to fight the fire, or maybe, for example, call for help. And in some other cases, we have some other less explosive hazards. For instance, in this case, you can see that a heavy equipment that just dropped from this on the upper floor. Moving on, there are other kinds of moving hazards, dynamic hazards that you can find. In this case, for example, a barrel of drum is rolling towards the player. And again, it's all about how do they react when these hazards are taking place, you know. So some of these things are based on the player being given instructions to wear, let's say, protective equipment, and maybe if they have heard it, if they've carried out that instruction, they will not have this issue of loud noise. In some cases, it could be dust. If the player put on their mask or nose guard, whatever, then there'll be no dust coming around. So again, these are just ways of testing things that are related to health and things that are related to safety. In this case, audio is a health issue. And all these things will be customized. In this case, I think it's a particular player that has got some unique characteristics of extroversion, agreeableness, and the rest of that customize all these hazards that you see for him or for her. And we expect that we'll be able to add as many hazards as possible in future. The next step for this game is to continue what we're doing and finalize the desktop version of the application so that people can deploy the game on their laptops and on their desktop computers. And this just require you downloading the installation files, and then you're good to go. But subsequently, we hope to be able to deploy it in a different platform like the Android TV or the iOS TV, so that you can play the game even at home. Using your smart TV, you can just plug in and just play the game with your joysticks or your controllers. And I think that will be helpful in also bringing construction to the living room so people can see what construction looks like in today's world. And that could be one way of attracting new talent to the construction industry. And the final step will be to make a web accessible version of the game so that those who want to be able to stream it live without installing any software, they can do that. Maybe those who want to use head-mounted displays can also plug in their hardware to the web and just enjoy the game from a different platform. Maybe, for example, very large organizations may be able to afford HTC Vive or Oculus Quest head-mounted displays, and they can access this game through the web interface using just the internet connection and the hardware. So this project was funded by a competition, actually, which I was a co-winner. And the competition is called the Royal Charter International Research Award of 2018. So I won that. I was a co-winner of that version of the competition, and is currently being supported by two organizations for whom I'm very, very grateful to for their support and providing the funds and the resources and moral support. The first company is the Building Research Establishment, BRE Trust, and the second organization is the Worshipful Company of Constructors, who have all put their heads together to support the work that I'm doing with this research project, and I'm really grateful to them for the opportunity.